जय श्री माताजी। उपस्थित सहजयोगी भाई बहनों का शाम के सामूहिक ध्यान सत्र में स्वागत है। सभी जन सामूहिक बंधन लेते हैं। अपनी आँखों से श्री माताजी की प्रतिमा को निहारते हुए श्री माताजी की प्रतिमा अपने हृदय में प्रस्थापित करेंगे। पूर्ण हृदय से प्रार्थना करेंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माताजी, कृपा कर आज के सामूहिक ध्यान में हमें बैठने की अनुमति प्रदान कीजिए। परम पूज्य श्री माताजी, कर्ता और कर्विता सिर्फ आप है। हम सिर्फ एक शुद्ध आत्मा हैं। आपकी कृपा में आप हमसे आज का यह सामूहिक ध्यान करवा लीजिए। सामूहिकता में 3 महामंत्र और गणेश मंत्र का उच्चारण करेंगे। नाड़ी संतुलन हेतु अपना दाहिना हाथ जमीन पर रखेंगे। अपना संपूर्ण चित्त ईड़ा नाड़ी पर पूर्ण हृदय से श्री माता जी को प्रेयर करेंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, कृपावंत होकर हमारी ईड़ा नाड़ी को शुद्ध कर दीजिए। श्री माता जी, आपकी कृपा में हमें शुद्ध इच्छा शक्ति प्रदान कीजिए। अपना दाया हाथ गोदी में रखते हैं। बाया हाथ आकाश की ओर करेंगे। अपना संपूर्ण चित्त पिंगला नाड़ी पर पूर्ण हृदय से प्रार्थना करेंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, कृपावंत होकर हमारी पिंगला नाड़ी को शुद्ध कर दीजिए। आपकी कृपा में हमें शुद्ध कार्य शक्ति प्रदान कीजिए। बाया हाथ गोदी में रखेंगे। अपना संपूर्ण चित्त सुषुम्ना नाड़ी पर पूर्ण हृदय से प्रार्थना करेंगे। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, कृपा कर हमारी सुषुम्ना नाड़ी को शुद्ध कर हमें पूर्ण संतुलन प्रदान कीजिए। धीरे से अपना चित्त मूलाधार चक्र पर लाते हैं। मूलाधार चक्र पर गणेश शक्ति को वंदन करते हुए धीरे धीरे अपना चित्त सुषुम्ना नाड़ी के ऊपर से सहस्त्रार पर प्रस्थापित करेंगे। प्रार्थना करेंगे, परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, कृपा कर हमारे आत्म साक्षात्कार को दृढ़ कर दीजिए। आज के इस ध्यान में हमें निर्विचारिता प्रदान कीजिए। कुछ क्षण निशब्द ध्यान की स्थिति में बैठते हैं। इसी ध्यान की अवस्था में श्री माताजी की अमृतवाणी आत्मसात करेंगे। आज की अमृतवाणी है क्रिसमस पूजा, कंडीशनिंग्स एंड ईगो, गणपतिपुले इंडिया, 25 दिसंबर 1995।
Sharpish fell at his feet and he said, "Sir, I am sorry. There is no palace, there is no throne, nothing of the kind." But the king had lost all his money, so he imprisoned him. He was beaten up and did all kinds of things. So this is the end of false ideas about oneself. This ego can take you to such a heights of stupidity. And the culture where it is pampered is the worst culture. I've seen advertisements where they say you must smoke this particular cigarette because it expresses your ego. But according to Indian culture, to express your ego is absolutely something very stupid. People laugh at such person, the one who tries to show his ego. In Marathi language, if somebody is trying to show off, then they say he is climbing on a small little shrub of chana. It's the whole system is such. So nobody can develop any ego. If they develop, then they are corrected. Especially in Maharashtra, it's very difficult to develop any ego. As soon as you start talking big about yourself, immediately you are punctured. But in the north, of course, a little bit allowed, I think. And people do talk big. We are great politicians who talk very big. I am going to do this, I am going to do that, we are going to have this project, that project. This. One thing Christ never said such a thing, never he talked. What if you see his sermons, is so deep and so enlightening. Despite the effort of this gentleman, Mr. Paul, you see Christ talking to people, giving them different ways of explanation. What happens after realization, how a seed is sprouted and how it can get spoiled. And very beautifully he explained to people. I think I didn't have much effect at that time. His life was so charming and so beautiful. Like a shooting star, he came on this earth. But he left such a remarkable impression on people. His crucifixion was a part of the game because he had to make the way in the Agya Chakra to cross. The Agya Chakra he was crucified. But his message is not crucifixion. People wear the cross and I feel very hurt about it. He crucified himself. But that's not the message. That's not you should celebrate that he crucified. There are people who celebrate it. You have to celebrate his resurrection. resurrection, because human beings are to be resurrected. In Sahaja Yoga nobody is crucified and is resurrected because of one crucifixion of Christ. That was enough. That was sufficient. You can't carry the cross on your shoulder. Don't have to. He's carried for you. He's done everything for you. He said also that he died for all the sinners, is a fact. If he had not done that, it would have been difficult to open your agyas. Because two problems I told you is conditioning and ego. His crucifixion has helped. The loosening of these two horrible capacities of human being. His life is to be understood in a very, very deep sense. But if you are like a journalist, you can say, why did he crucify himself? If he was God, why did he get crucified? Now the question is why he got crucified is how to tell these journalists who don't know anything about chakras. Because it was the era or the time of tapasya, of sacrifice. And so then all these three persons, Buddha, Mahavira and Christ, went into complete renunciation. They led a life of a great tapasvis. They did it for us, not for themselves. They did not need it. They didn't want it. But they had to do it to cleanse us, to give us a proper medha, as they call it, this Ekadasha Rudras, to be clear. And they have sacrificed their lives. They have sacrificed all the pleasures of life. For them it was not a sacrifice, it is just a kind of a life they wanted to have. For such people, there is no question of sacrifice, but it is a question of doing something that would help to open the chakras of the people in the future. Without them, we could not have worked out such. It was essential for these people to cleanse, for us, these three chakras, part of the one chakra of Christ. All this they have worked out. And that's why today's Sahaja Yoga is so beautifully created, so beautifully spreading, is working out. We have to thank them very much. Of course, all other incarnations also have helped. You can see Vishuddhi, then also heart and all these, just right heart, left heart. All these angels, as they are called in the Bible, have helped us to cross over. All these incarnations are responsible in our evolutionary process to create these ladders for us to move. So ultimately you reach the state of tapa on the sixth center, and then in the state of truth, satya. Then the truth comes to you through Sahaja Yoga, in the brain, in the limbic area, when the Kundalini enters. She puts light there, she creates enlightened personalities. And then she joins this all-pervading power of divine love, and with this divine love you are completely changed and transformed. So their contribution to the ascent of human beings has been great, and that of Christ has been the greatest. And when we say we have to follow Christ, we should try to see how much detachment we have. They say his brothers and sisters or somebody came to see him. They say he had brothers. So he said, who are my brothers? These are my brothers. These are my relations. Ganeshwara said the same, that they will become your relations. Soyarika. Techi soyarika. They will be your relations. They will be your brothers and sisters. And not those who are not enlightened. They are not your relations. Because they don't understand. They don't have entry into the kingdom of God. So they are not your relations. In his lifetime, he led a life of a person who was very simple. He didn't bother about clothes or anything. All the conditioning of the worldly things were not him. But he was not shameless type of a person who would accept any kind of a nudity and this and that. Even about Mahavira, there's a big misconception. He was once praying in a garden where there were lots of bushes, call them kunjas. And in the bush his cloth, which was only one cloth he was putting on, was caught up, so he cut half of it and was covering himself. Shri Krishna went to test him and he said that I have nothing, I am just nude. So why don't you give me your cloth, because after all you are a king. So he took out his cloth and gave it to Shri Krishna and got some leaves to cover himself, and he was in his own garden and went into his own palace. Now if you see the Jains, they make everything so horrible and insult him all the time. Most of the people who follow all these great incarnations really all the time insult them. They don't follow, they insult. And by their behavior, you see, we form such a bad opinion of all these people. I met one gentleman in Chicago, it was very cold. He was the head of the Hare Rama, Hare Krishna. He was wearing a dhoti which was so thin and was shaking before me. I said, what's the matter? He said, I'm feeling very cold. I said, why are you wearing this dhoti? He said, my guru has told me if you wear a dhoti, you will go to heaven. I said, really? In India, 80% people wear nothing but dhotis. Are they all going to go to heaven? And many must have gone already. So where will you be? Didn't like it. Then I said, why you shaved your hair and put this, you call it shendi or in Hindi bodhi, I don't know what you call it, pig's tail here, pig's tail. So he says, it is because my guru told me that I must shave my head and have this kind of a thing, so I think perhaps maybe he will be tied to some rope and pulled in the heaven or something. I said, Kabira has said, Kabira was one of them who has tried to slash out all your conditioning. He said by shaving your head, if you are going to go to heaven. So, what about the lamb which is shaved twice a year? He'll be there earlier than you. It's a fact, it's such stupid things. And there are giant sadhus who will remain absolutely nude and will pull their hair. Now by law they are allowed to go nude on the street, insulting everyone. All such stupid things are happening in the name of religion, that too of Buddha, Mahavira and Christ. They are the ones who are trying to pull us away from rationality. Because you have to cross this. All your limitations are because of this thinking, conditioning. We have to go beyond. Because by thinking, what do? We move in a linear way, and then there's no truth in it, so the whole thing comes back boomerangs and you are finished. We have to go beyond this mind, must understand this point. Christ has done this so that we can go beyond our life. If you don't know how to go beyond mind, better sit down for a meditation. Work it out. With this mind, all kinds of things will come. Temper will come, intrigue will come, jealousies will come. All the 6 enemies that we have will come to us through this mind. Means thinking, rationality. Everything can be rationalized. Why did you murder your wife? Because I hated her. She was this, she was that, but you cannot murder her. Why did you murder your husband? Because of this, because of that. Because of this mind, we start doing things which are absolutely wrong, which are sinful, and then we try to rationalize it. Go against Agya, go against reality, and then use your conditioning, use your, we can call the ego to explain it, why you did it. All the time when we are doing like that, we can never go beyond mind. We are so self-satisfied about ourselves. We think no end of ourselves. Now, how are we to get out of it? Introspection. But it's very difficult because people are afraid of themselves. They don't want to introspect. Because once they start introspecting, they will know how sinful they have been, how wrong things they have been doing. And then they'll hate themselves. So they don't want to introspect. But it's very important that we should introspect. That introspection is very helpful for you to overcome these 2 hurdles of your Agya Chakra. I have told you many times, don't argue with anyone. Because the other fellow who is asking for argument is the one who has lots of ego. And that ego is acting on you. So action-reaction starts. And we develop a habit of reacting to everything. Especially in the West, I've seen they react to everything. Everything. For example, now this thing is spread out here. Now they have nothing to do. But they could have had better. Why is it so thin? But you pay for it now, you do it. They are walking across, they meet someone, see this man, what sort of a person he is. If there's a beggar, then they'll start criticizing. They'll criticize the government, they'll criticize everyone. What about yourself? Instead of that, why don't you start doing something about it? If you can't help it, if you are not going to do anything about it, why react? And this is the worst habit we have developed, is to react. And we think we have every right to react. You have. But this right is self-destructive. To react on everything is not proper. You have no authority to react. It is to that extent. You have to just witness. Witness the whole thing. Once you start witnessing, you'll be amazed that you will start seeing the play of the Maya, as they call it, and you will see where you stand with it. Witnessing should be developed all the time. Witness. Am I witnessing? Many people say that I have very good memory, because I am all the time witnessing. Everything is recorded within me like a picture. And then when I have to say something, I have to correct something, all that I have witnessed comes to help. First of all, we should not react. React to anything. Some people are attached, say, to money. They react, they will not give any money, they will keep all the money with themselves. In Sahaja also it happens. I've seen people are very, very miserly about money. Another ones are who try to please others. Then they'll waste their money on lavish things for nothing at all. There's no need to waste. Reaction can come through anything. Seeing something, you can react. And you become so engrossed with it that you don't realize that you are wasting all your brain energy on nonsensical things. This reaction comes when you have lost complete sense of judgment. You don't know what you are losing, what you are gaining by this kind of reaction. And this reaction is going to destroy your inner being completely. Because all the time you are here and you are there and you are there and you are there. You are nowhere here. If you are a very criticizing type of a person, try to stop it completely. Criticize yourself. Direct that energy towards yourself. Who am I to criticize others? Who am I to react to it? Put a challenge to yourself and you will see that your ego will subside. One day somebody came and told me that, Mother, I feel so angry, I feel like beating everyone. I said, all right, do one thing. Take a chappal and hit on your head. Finished. That's the only way you can get rid of this habit that you want to beat others. Didn't like it much, but I think by that he is improved. Now conditioning also should be seen. Am I a conditioned person? If my conditioning is there, then is it a good conditioning or a bad condition? At least you should have good conditioning. But even that, to an extreme if you go, you can create a problem for yourself and for others. Most of these rituals and things started as a good condition. Then it became like a trap. And they could not get out of it. It's a part and parcel of it, one has to accept. Then what should we do? We should not react. Just see the drama. And you'll be surprised. Without paying anything, without going to any theatre, every moment you can see the drama going on before. Which is so enjoyable. Whether it is absurd, whether it is ridiculous, whether it is a sort of a, as you see in the films, you see beating somebody and all that. You just see it and you do not react. Anything that you think is very perverse, ugly, immoral, don't see. Finished. Gone. So don't tax your mind, because in the mind that we call it, so-called mind, is actually the Agya Chakra in the center of your optic chiasma. Just imagine what a central place it has. And any disturbance to your Agya, what it can do to your brain, which is nothing but a lump of fat. So how this Agya can affect you and how it works and creates perverted images. That is to be really seen. Conditionings also, you have seen people are mentally so upset and so degenerated. But the pure nature of Christ is innocence, you know that. He is Shri Ganesha. Shri Ganesha is an eternal child. Christ is also complete innocence because he doesn't react. Because he is not conditioned. Children are not conditioned so much as we are. If you talk to children, if you speak to them, you will be amazed how innocent they are and how innocently they talk. Once my granddaughter asked me, what do you think of the poor children of the tiger? I said, why? You know, their father tells them that you eat human beings. And what can they do? They have to eat human beings after all. So innocent. So I told her that they are under a complete control of God. Whatever they are doing, they are not going to be held responsible. It's only for human beings. That God has given this freedom. It's only human beings who can react in this manner. So, for animals it is they are in pashus, means they are completely under the control of the God Almighty. So they are swabhavas, everything. A serpent will be a serpent and a tiger will be a tiger, and they will say a lion will be a lion. But human being can be a serpent at the same time, could be a scorpion, could be a lion, could be anything. You know, suddenly you find a small little bug like man coming up like a lion roaring at you. And you say, from where does this come, this cannon? It is so. You don't know which way they will come and which way the camel will sit, you can't say. So this reaction of human beings comes because he is not in connection with the divine. When he is in the connection with the divine, he sees the drama and he leaves everything to divine. He can solve all his problem by just one bandhan. Aay pani, tum basa. He can solve all the problems just by a bandhan. But he should be in full connection with the divine. It works, it does work. This is not the time when Christ came on this earth. This is the time where this Parama Chaitanya has gone into action. Activated. Is working out everything. Now they asked me about the Shri Ganesha, whether Shri Ganesha drank milk or not. I said anything possible. These days this Parama Chaitanya is doing such things, unbelievable things which we cannot understand. Everything is a chamatkar. So, it's possible. Ganeshas, I have never heard of Ganesha liking milk so much, but maybe for the little rat he might be drinking. You can't say. But why did Shiva drink? I said, let it be. Let Shiva wants to drink, let him have milk. Actually, we have too much milk production, so they must be wanting to consume some. But it's just a way at looking at things that, you see, when everything is done by this Param Chaitanya, they are doing such wonderful things. I mean, I never asked them to do anything. But now, for example, in Brisbane, when I was there, I was sleeping in the ashram, and a rainbow appeared. Of course, I like paintings very much of Raphael, especially because he has drawn the mother's face and the child's face so exactly, expressing the feeling of mother and the child. And imagine that picture appears in the sky. And I didn't tell them to show that Raphael. When I was sleeping, I was not even going to look at it. But at this time, the hollow that was on the backside of Mary comes up on the head. Means Raphael himself did it, or I don't know. How can I explain this? Param Chaitanya is doing all kinds of things, and it does all this just to convince you about such. Because even now there are many who are supposed to be very rational, intelligent, educated, who don't want to accept. After all, if there is a divine power, if there is something like that and is active, how can you challenge it? How can you say no to it? Because the powers are unlimited. It has gone into every atom and every molecule. It doesn't do tricks like moving this from there to there. But what it does is to do something which is absolutely impossible. It is doing. So for us to believe in this activated Param Chaitanya is the only solution, so you leave it in the ocean of this and let this great power handle all the situations. Don't react yourself, which is so efficient, so quick, so fast, moves all over, understands everything, and it loves you and respects you because you are Sajogis. This is what it is today. We should know at the time when we are celebrating Christmas, that what we are celebrating is really our own ascent, our own achievements, our own lofty heights, which we have achieved and which we have to achieve. We should have only aspirations as far as our spiritual side is concerned. All aspirations should be left to this Param Chaitanya. You look after that. And the more you become, the more you develop this non-reacting attitude through your proper agya. Not anger, not silence, but a very pleasant temperament. That means people think that I've told you not to speak. No, you must speak. You must talk to people, you must laugh, you must enjoy. But all this should be full of joyous feelings. That's what they say, that Christmas is for a very joyous atmosphere. So they can't do that way, so they drink. After all, you must give them benefit of doubt also, that why do they drink? They think by drinking they will become joyous. Now, our understanding about ourselves has to be very clear. Especially, people don't meditate. They just don't meditate. They don't want to grow. They are Sajogis, but they don't meditate. It's very surprising. I can make out who meditates, who does not. because there is no depth. They want to have this, they want to have that, is all right. But what about meditation? If you don't meditate, your agya will be completely covered with thoughts and you will be lost. So you have to meditate. If you don't meditate, I also suffer. If you have no aspirations in Sahaja Yoga, it's better to leave. Because you are like seeds which are sprouted and which will be wasted. Some people are here because they want some sort of a platform, some publicity. Some are here who want money, to make money out of Sahaja Yoga. There are some who want to have a kind of a communication, to go around the whole world without paying a single price. All such people are of no use to themselves. Now here you have the complete wealth. All that celestial wealth is before you, and you are not going to accept it. You are not going to drown into it. What should we say? It is not very sensible to do. As I said, you don't have to crucify yourself, you don't have to give up anything, you don't have to live like Christ had to live or be born in the manger. All that's done for you already. Now, come now. But if you are coming in the darbar of the divine, then be worth it. You should be worth it. And you will be surprised, all your problems will be solved. Your self-respect will be maintained. So many things have happened like that. But if you have no self-respect, you don't respect your realization, you are not deeply involved as to your own ascent and help to others, it will not work. I am here to tell you all these things which Christ could not tell. I had to fulfill what He wanted to say. All those things I am saying to you. It has already worked, you are all got realization. But develop respect for yourself as Sahaja Yogis. Don't have funny ideas about yourself. Just know you are a Sahaja Yogi and a Sahaja Yogi. That's what is needed for a person if he is today celebrating the birth of Christ. He came on this earth who was actually Christ, full of innocence, who was the one who came as the embodiment of Shri Ganesha. I have given the proof of it to you, how the carbon atom looks like, and by which I have proved that Christ is the Alpha and Omega, while He is made out of Omkara and Swastika. All this we have experimented, we have found it there. With all this, what is the greatest achievement is to respect your innocence. Respect your innocence. This is what is to be asked for today. Be innocent, and God looks after all the innocent people. Don't worry, don't have to worry. I have seen children falling for 7 stories. Nothing happens to them. They are perfectly all right. How? Who looks after? Angels. You have seen photographs of angels around you. So, try to be simple, innocent, not reactive, and keep quiet and peaceful. Because here we are talking about the global transformation where people will find their peace in their heart and will establish a new world of peace, joy, and spirituality. May God bless you.
जय श्री माता जी। आदिशक्ति का संपूर्ण मंत्र लेंगे। ओम त्वमेव साक्षात् श्री आदिशक्ति माताजी श्री निर्मला देव्यै नमो नमः। आरती की तैयारी करते हैं।
सबको दुआ देना माँ, सबको
जय श्री माता जी। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी के चरणों में प्रार्थनाएं अर्पित करते हैं। परम पूज्य श्री माता जी, आज का यह सामूहिक ध्यान हम आपके श्री चरणों पर समर्पित करते हैं। आज के इस ध्यान सत्र में आपने हमें जो निरानंद प्रदान किया और जो चैतन्य लहरी उसके से आशीर्वाद प्रदान किए, इसलिए हम आपके शतशाह ऋणी हैं। श्री माता जी, संपूर्ण विश्व में विश्व निर्मल धर्म प्रस्थापित करने हेतु कृपा कर हमें सहजयोग प्रचार प्रसार का शुद्ध माध्यम बना दीजिए। हमारी सभी प्रार्थनाओं का स्वीकार कर हमें आशीर्वादित करने की कृपा करें। जय श्री माता जी। सामूहिक बंधन लेंगे। जय श्री माता जी। आज की कुछ सूचनाएं इस प्रकार। नए साधकों के लिए साप्ताहिक ऑनलाइन ध्यान केंद्र लर्निंग सहजयोगा यूट्यूब चैनल द्वारा प्रति शनिवार को शाम 6:30 से 7:30 बजे लाइव प्रसारित हो रहा है। अगला सत्र 17 दिसंबर को होगा। नए साधकों को जानकारी प्रदान करें, सहयोग सीखने में उनको मदद होगी। श्री माताजी जन्म शताब्दी वर्ष के उपलक्ष्य में हर 21 तारीख को मातृवंदना की प्रस्तुति आयोजित की जा रही है। ठीक 3 महीने बाद हम श्री माताजी का 100वां जन्मदिन जन्मस्थली छिंदवाड़ा में मनाएंगे। इस आने वाली 21 दिसंबर को शाम के ध्यान के पश्चात 8 बजे मातृवंदना में श्री संगीत मिश्रा जी और श्री संदीप मिश्रा जी के साथ पंचनाद इंस्ट्रूमेंटल जुगलबंदी की प्रस्तुति होगी। उन्हें तबले पर साथ देंगे पंडित रामदास परसुले जी और पखवाज पर साथ देंगे पंडित प्रताप पाटिल जी। अंतर्राष्ट्रीय क्रिसमस पूजा महोत्सव 23 दिसंबर से 25 दिसंबर 2022 नारगोल गुजरात में होगा। सारे सहजी इस क्रिसमस पूजा महोत्सव में आमंत्रित है। क्रिसमस पूजा महोत्सव और नव वर्ष स्वागत समारोह में शाम के ध्यान के बाद मातृवंदना में अलग अलग प्रदेश द्वारा भक्ति संगीत का कार्यक्रम का आयोजन प्रतिष्ठान से किया गया है। 24 दिसंबर को देहरादून उत्तराखंड म्यूजिक ग्रुप, 26 दिसंबर को ग्वालियर म्यूजिक ग्रुप, 27 दिसंबर ग्रेटर नोएडा म्यूजिक ग्रुप, 28 दिसंबर गोंदिया म्यूजिक ग्रुप, 29 दिसंबर शुद्धशील चटर्जी द्वारा संतूर प्रस्तुति, 30 दिसंबर कल्याण अंबरनाथ म्यूजिक ग्रुप और 31 दिसंबर दिल्ली म्यूजिक ग्रुप और 1 जनवरी पुणे म्यूजिक ग्रुप द्वारा मातृवंदना की प्रस्तुति होगी। इन कार्यक्रमों में आप आमंत्रित है और आप ऑनलाइन भी इस सभी कार्यक्रमों का आनंद ले सकते हैं। परम पूज्य माताजी निर्मला देवी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय जन्म दिवस पूजा महोत्सव और सेमिनार 19 मार्च से 22 मार्च 2023 मध्य प्रदेश छिंदवाड़ा में संपन्न होगा। 19 मार्च को शाम 5 बजे हवन होगा और 22 मार्च को सुबह 10 बजे जन्म दिवस पूजा संपन्न होगी। आप इस महोत्सव में सादर आमंत्रित हैं। आप रेल के रिजर्वेशन या फ्लाइट के बुकिंग एडवांस में कर सकते हैं। होटल अकोमोडेशन के लिए स्क्रीन पर दिए गए नंबर पर आप संपर्क कर सकते हैं। कल के कार्यक्रम इस प्रकार: अर्ली मॉर्निंग मेडिटेशन सुबह 4 बजे प्रसारित होगा। सुबह का ध्यान सुबह 5:30 बजे लाइव प्रसारित होगा। शाम का ध्यान 7 बजे लाइव प्रसारित होगा। आज का ध्यान सत्र यहीं पे संपन्न होता है। अब हम कुछ भजन संगीत का आनंद लेंगे। जय श्री माता जी।
सहजयोगिनीरा वंदन करूया माताजीरा। कीर्ती जयाची त्रैलोक्याची मूर्ती असेही प्रेम रसाची। कीर्ती जयाची त्रैलोक्याची मूर्ती असेही प्रेम रसाची। आरती तव चरणा वंदन करूया माताजीला महाशक्तीला सहजयोगिनीला वंदन करूया माताजीला। सहजयोगाची प्राप्ती झाली, सहजयोगाची प्राप्ती झाली। ज्ञानदीपाची ज्योत लाविली, ज्ञानमार्ग दाविला। वंदन करूया माताजीला महाशक्तीला सहजयोगिनीला वंदन करूया माताजीला।
निर्मल धाम, निर्मल धाम रे, निर्मल धाम, निर्मल धाम रे। सुमन चढ़ाने डाले झोली में, माँ से पाऊंगा मैं कुछ दान भी डालूं झोली में। सौम्य प्रकाश चेतना देखी, सौम्य प्रकाश चेतना देखी, जैसे भोर की लाली में स्वार्पण करके बोला मैं, स्वार्पण करके बोला मैं, कुछ ना डालूं झोली में। निरपेक्ष यही भक्ति कुटीर है, चैतन्यता का ऐसा धाम। ये है सुख शांति का धाम, ये है सुख शांति का धाम। निर्मल धाम, निर्मल धाम रे, निर्मल धाम, निर्मल धाम रे। अर्पित है तन मन धन अपना, अर्पित है तन मन धन अपना। चरण नहीं ये स्वर्ग की रचना, वास्तविक है नहीं ये कल्पना। ऐसे धाम की करे क्यों तुलना, मंदिर मस्जिद गुरुद्वारे का अब नहीं कोई काम। ये है सुख शांति का धाम, ये है सुख शांति का धाम। निर्मल धाम, निर्मल धाम रे, निर्मल धाम, निर्मल धाम रे। अग्निकुंड है अहंकार का, अग्निकुंड है अहंकार का। जटिल मेरे ही भूतकाल का, जटिल मेरे ही भूतकाल का। जब से बना भिक्षुक इस द्वार का, जब से बना भिक्षुक इस द्वार का। भविष्य उज्ज्वल सहज प्यार का, भविष्य उज्ज्वल सहज प्यार का। यही है मक्का, यही करबला, गंगा जमुना चारों धाम। बंधावा